Call meeting to order at 6:17 or 6:47 on March 15th, 2017, and call out your name for a roll call for a quorum.
Deborah Mendel.
Justin Barr, Russell Ohms,
Brock Alexander, James Botwell.
So that establishes a quorum. Is our current membership down to 7?
Yes.
Is 7. So following law, civil law, that is the majority of the people that are present on the board. So 5 is a quorum. So looking through the agenda, I don't see any difficulties with going through it as is. Does anybody else have any comments with the agenda?
No.
Once again, I'd like to go on record as saying that we are a non-profit corporation, and what we're doing is volunteering, and all our labor is free, and we are volunteers, and this is what that now. Okay, moving on to approval of minutes.
Excuse me.
Martha, you're out of order now. We're going through, when we hit the things on for review, the Brown Act allows comment. It doesn't allow comment under this part of the agenda. Establish this with June minutes. So moving on, approval of minutes. Has everyone read the minutes? And does everybody have any changes or corrections?
I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second it. Aye.
Okay, is there anybody have any changes? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Public has a comment.
Please, gentlemen, comment now. We are involved with taking our minutes.
You can't approve a minute without allowing the public to make a comment.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
It's not true.
You have false minutes here, false minute reporting.
Okay.
Would the chairman
Martha?
think that at the end of the meeting?
We could. I mean, that we're free public comment.
No,
To say
no.
anything they want.
This is an item on the agenda under Brown Act. The
This is
public
not
can
an
make.
item on the agenda, not for discussion. These
Yes, it
items are
is.
not. These are
There's
administrative items.
falsified lies.
That's
I don't
not
know.
true.
There's an outright lie here in your minutes.
Well, then we will be accountable for that.
And it's slander.
Well, we will be accountable.
Good.
Good.
I
We
hope
approved them.
you did.
No, we didn't approve it.
Oh. Okay. Calling for the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
I'm just saying that.
You were here. One abstention. Okay, good. Moving on to the treasurer's report. We have 2 treasurer's reports. One is a monthly and one is our annual treasurer's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you can see from your sheets here for February 28, 2017, we have in our checking and savings $12,032.88. We have total assets of $43,857.33. We have liabilities of $43,857.33. I'll address some of the underlying factors of those in my annual treasury report. And then I think if there's any questions, I think it's pretty straightforward as where we stand right now. All of our accounting is done through Casoni and Associates, and all of the bills are rigorously noted, and so it's just figures at this point.
Right. Yeah. So the point is that we do not control our money. All the bills are given to the accountant. The accountant writes the checks and we sign them. All right. So and how about your annual report?
We have
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Chairman, we still need to
if
do
you have
the
questions.
All right. Any
monthly
questions?
report before we move on to the annual.
All right.
So I listed them as 2 separate items.
I see how you've done it.
They probably didn't have to be, but I'd like to move to approve the monthly treasurer's report if you're done, or if there's no further questions.
Yeah, questions.
So here a second. I'll second. Great, it's been moved and seconded to approve the monthly treasurer's report. Are there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to that annual treasurer's report.
So, our annual treasurer's report, before I get started into actually, our projection of our incomes and the projections of our expenses, there's some underlying things that we've been having to deal with, which is hopefully by the end of this year, they will be concluded. One of which is the LMA's very successful litigation with Ms. Esch to retake the property at 120 parcel lot, which is at the very end of the street here. We are in the final days of actually getting the transfer of legal ownership to us. It should happen within the next couple of days. We will be putting a 3-day eviction notice into effect, and that will take its course. We will hopefully be getting the various liens that we have against her to be able to pay for the legal process that we will be getting back to either ourselves and pay the lawyers. So these are all very important things that are going to be underlying our finances for the coming year. We've had to put out a tremendous amount of money in legal expenses, roughly, it's $180,000 or so. And hopefully all of that's going to be recouped, so that we actually will have the building, which we will determine what to do with it after that point, and hopefully that'll be income coming back to the LMA membership. So I'm very hopeful about that. There's other things that we have done in the final months of 2016 that affects our budget for 2017. We had very successful litigation with Anthony Lee on his delinquent assessments. We and Ms. Naden, we were able to get $5,000 plus court costs, and she is going to be paying this over a prescribed court-dictated payment plan. And if she fails, then we can go after everything from her wages and such. So, except for the Adams property, which has its own convolutions about trying to get something from an estate, the only person really who is in arrears which we are going to be moving towards, again, is Ms. Esch into small claims court. If she had, we've started the process that is outlined in our CC&Rs to be able to recoup in small claims the amount that she is withholding from her Locke grill. Because it's unfair to all the other property owners who are making their monthly assessments in good faith to have one person who says they don't want to. So that's all going to affect our bottom line. So hopefully by the end of 2017, our expenses will drop tremendously. Our income will increase tremendously. And I look very hopeful to this. And we've been able to set in place now a pretty rigorous process to go after any delinquents that are delinquent assessments. And I think that, we are going to be in very good shape by the end of the year. But in the reality of before all that, we have to deal with a budget. And so in our paperwork here, our total income that we project is $47,580. Our expenses, of course, are exactly that, $47,580. So if you have any questions, or if I can give you any further insight,
James, is the projected income, does that you projecting that based on all these things falling in line, or where we're at? in
It's
saving?
projected upon the simple idea that except for the Adams property, we
Yeah.
are projecting, each property owner is paying their assessment, whether it be commercial or whether it be residential.
Yeah.
Based upon that, that's how
Okay.
and then, of course, we are beginning to get extra because maintenance,
Yeah.
will
Okay.
play into that.
All right. That makes sense.
I'm sorry,
Yes.
see each other.
Yeah.
Also want to point out regarding the budget that's in the treasurer's report, that was previously approved by the board in 2016. That's something that had to be, approved, I forget how many days
So
prior to.
the annual budget is already been approved.
Yes, our annual budget's already been approved. Of course, it's not in stone, should something dramatically change.
Right.
That's already been approved, but as per the CCNRs, it's supposed to be included in the annual report
Okay.
to the property owners.
So, anything more on your annual treasury report?
So, entertain any questions?
For bringing this up, is that any other questions? That's any questions for the year? Okay, great. Well then, I will entertain a motion to approve the treasury report.
Are we taking up public comment after that?
And then we'll take a comment on the treasury report. This is open, right? So this will get a public comment.
Excuse me, Chairman?
Yes.
When we open up the public comment,
Yeah.
it is not question and answer period. I'm not here to answer questions.
Right, I know that. Okay. Good. We're going to open this up for public comment. Does anybody have any public comment on our annual treasury report?
Yes, I actually do.
Would you please come to the board?
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot.
Scott Bishop, you guys have met me before.
Yes.
I had some questions regarding your comments on the property. Is that property going to be possibly sold to ascendants or descendants? Because if you're a nonprofit, doesn't it need to go back to what started the whole case to begin with?
I don't know if that's been decided. It's public comment.
Well,
Yeah, it's just public comments. Right.
It was a question.
It's Brown Act. Yes.
yeah, but we have to follow the Brown Act. We cannot answer questions, and we're accepting public comments. So, thank you. Did you have another question or comment?
Okay, so
on me?
let me get this straight. Okay, this is a public meeting. You guys are public officials, correct? Even you volunteered.
Right.
Okay. Us beyond that desk are public, and a question has been asked. But you guys you're not going to answer any questions that are asked. Is that what I'm understanding?
The comments right now, can we make it clear? The comments to be made at this point are regarding the treasurer's reports.
He brought it up, so I just asked because he brought it up.
You seem to be asking a question about descendants and ascendants and things
The
like
property
that.
is the property going to be sold so you guys recoup the money, or are you guys going to obtain the property as an asset, which does pertain to the treasury report? That's all I was asking.
So we've heard the question, and if we want to discuss it amongst ourselves before we vote, then we'll do so. Am I correct?
Yes.
You got to sit want the Brown Act to be followed, so now it's been followed.
Thank you.
That's not the way the Brown Act works.
Well, the only comment I will make is we don't know what's going to be the disposition of that building. We do not know.
Right.
Yeah. So,
And I respect that. I was just asking. I didn't know if it had been discussed.
well, we've been held so strictly to the Brown Act that we're very hesitant, reticent to break it in any way. So we're trying to follow it like this. So that's why we hesitate to answer questions. When we begin a conversation about something that's not on the agenda, that wasn't your question, took us off topic. we were going to do as a board in the future, and we can't answer that. We just presented the annual treasury report. So the questions had to remain within the context of the annual treasury report, that's all.
Right, and I understand that, but it does make a difference, dollars and cents wise, on whether or not it is to be sold for a hypothetical price, or it is retained by the nonprofit organization of the board, and it becomes an asset. So it dictates whether or not you're going to have cash flow, or you're going to have an asset, and that's merely all I was asking.
We won't know that until the decision is made. Thank you. Okay, so we've not voted on the annual treasury report in acceptance. So do I hear a motion to accept the annual treasury report?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of accepting the annual treasury report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, moving on to old business. I'm going to get into March, the election results for the vacant and expiring property owner representatives board of directors seats. So the way we work this is we send out first nomination forms, which all the property owners got. They nominate people to be on the board. Then a ballot was made up, and then the ballot was sent out. And all the ballots were returned to the accountant. And we never saw them. The accountant got them sealed. And then the accountant gave us this envelope sealed with happy faces so we couldn't open it. So we're going to open them now to see the results. And the only fair way to do this would be to have an ad hoc. How do you think we do
I think
best?
we should just do this right here in front of everyone.
Should we do it with an
Who was
ad
the
hoc
accountant?
committee of people here?
Who was the-
Huh?
Who was the third-party accountant?
It's,
The unaffiliated third-party accountant who did the accounting?
Our accountant, somebody.
You can't have somebody who is employed by the board. It has to be a third unaffiliated party according to Davis Sterling Act.
Unopened. They're unopened letters. All they did was.
That's
pass
nice,
them on to us.
but it has to be an unaffiliated third-party accounting.
Well, we're decided to go this way. Don't-
Okay, you're violating the Davis Sterling Act then.
Well, I did everything according to you.
I'm just waiting for.
We know who's winning, not you, sweetheart.
I just wanted to clarify.
We can go
All the ballots, people, the LMA members who can vote for this have to be members in good standing.
Yes.
And that means that they have to be current on their assessments. And so any property member who is not current with their assessments, first of all, cannot nominate anyone to be on the board, nor can they vote to be on the board. Therefore, because we have such few property owners in Locke, we have a very small number of people who actually choose from, who are actually voting. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No,
That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, yeah, no, it's true. Now, my thought was to have like an ad hoc committee right now with people in the audience to look through them and open them up. And that would be the fairest way. Do other members of the committee agree with that?
these were opened at the Tonys because what happened is people enclosed their
Oh,
checks
their checks.
and payments with their
Okay. I
ballots to
see.
save a stamp,
Right, okay.
period. No, I don't need one. But we have, this was in a sealed envelope and we have not seen them. No one on the board of directors has ever seen them.
Okay.
So, I don't, whatever you choose.
So how do you want to do
Mr.
it?
Chairman.
You want to fast? Is there anyone, should we just open them up in front of everybody?
Mr. Pizzoni is paid by the
order.
He's
You're just
employed
screaming
by.
out, Martha.
You asked a question, I was
We're talking
answering.
We're talking among ourselves.
You asked a question.
Mr. Chairman, would you please ask Ms. Edge to stop speaking until she's called? I don't want to have this anymore.
Yeah. Okay. See you, Rich.
Great.
So we'll open them right here in front of ourselves and go through it. I mean, usually there's we do a.
Well, I think since they were sealed, I feel very confident and I would trust you and Rob to count them.
There we go. We asserted you, because I was unopposed, so there was no opposition.
So was Mr. Marr.
And so was Mr. Marr.
So
So we went through the motions of having an election, which we haven't done in the past, because they were unopposed seats. So we, to save time and money and our volunteer time, we didn't go.
No, we did have the election.
We had the election.
We had the
We had the election.
This was unopposed.
But it was
December of
unopposed.
So now you're
2009.
interrupting again. As
Can we put a
a board
limit on
member,
it? How about one more interruption
Yeah.
and we can ask Ms. Edge to
Yes.
leave? I would appreciate
Do
that.
not interrupt us again.
Once more and out. I don't want to hear another word.
I know, who wouldn't? Okay, here we go.
It's not fair to the other people who are attending this meeting. Maybe, count how many total ballots were received.
Right.
That is one right there, the open one.
Oh, it is? Okay.
I don't know why there's a number.
So it's just, I would fill the open forum and answer your questions, put notes down.
I'm really serious. There's one key.
I know. Oh. Vote for me.
I don't know that number. Well, it seems like they sort of do the, they just use it up to one at the end, whenever, so we,
Maybe it should have been James. Actually, let me give you a stack to James personally and done this.
I don't know where to go. Yeah, what is it?
Just because, yeah,
Okay.
give them both all maybe, because I just feel like we don't want other people on there.
That's all right. I had to wait for the count anyway. We got total balance. Okay, so here, if you want to do a recount, I have. That's it. I have 16 and 12. So 16, 12, 12, 28, 24. But there's Dustin always got to go to 28 pounds. That's a lot, that's great. So I'm going to give this to you, Jake. Do you want to do verify it again, or redo our counts?
well, I think the easiest way to do this, and the most, is actually, and you'll keep a count of this, Debbie?
Sure.
Okay. So this is our first ballot here, and it's Russell Owens and Justin Mark. Next one is Russell Owens and Justin Mark. Russell Owens, Justin Mark. Russell Owens, Justin Mark. And if you'll look here on the top, it says what parcel number this is from. Russell Owens, Justin Mark. Russell Owens, Justin Mark. Russell Owens, Justin Mark. Russell Owens, Justin Mark. This one is just Justin Mark. Justin Mark. mark. And that's the mark. Whoops, I lost my go. There's a few more here. Russell Holmes, that's the mark. 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 Russell Holmes, that's the mark.
So,
Russell Holmes, that's the mark. Russell Holmes, that's the mark. Right. Russell Holmes, that's the mark. 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 And the final one, Russell Holmes, that's the mark. And Mr. Chairman,
yes,
I know, I don't want to, but these will all now, we'll make copies of all of this, and including all this, and send this to Jean Mays, who is the,
county council.
she's with county council, who is the legal representation for the board of supervisors. And so we just want to make sure that the board of supervisors knows that we are doing everything as we best can to be reasonable and to be ethical in our duties.
Okay, great. So, ultimately, there were 28 people that returned to ballots. And of the 28 voted for Dustin and 24 voted for me. So we are indeed re-elected for 3-year seats. The seats come up on a...
How were the ballots kept secret, since it's supposed to be secret balloting, and you held them up for the camera and you guys examined them all? How were they kept secret? I guess they weren't kept secret. Also, how were the one vote per parcel handled in the situation of 2 of the board members owning multiple parcels together jointly? Was that a half a vote and a half a vote? Or was it 2 votes per parcel in that case? That's a question.
Well, I can answer that. That should be answered. No, I should answer it.
No, we can discuss it later.
We'll discuss it later. Okay.
I can't deal
We're not
with
going to talk to you
About
about
your
your
question.
So ask your question. Okay, good. Go ahead. Next one.
Mr. Pisoni, you say, was the accountant who tabulated the voting? He's paid by you folks. He's not an unaffiliated, unbiased, third-party person. Per Davis-Sterling Act, you have to have an unaffiliated person tabulate the votes, or 3 people tabulate the votes that are unaffiliated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, also, one more thing. Also, per Davis-Sterling Act, if you're going to suspend an owner's property rights, you have to give them written notification, an owner's voting rights to any issue, especially election, or including elections. You have to give them written notice, and you can only suspend their voting rights for 15 days. I know of 3 people, including myself, in the association who did not receive electoral ballots. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, to answer that question, all the parcel owners are given one letter, and they all have one vote. So every parcel has a vote, that's it. It's not like the parcel, if two people own a parcel, it doesn't mean they get two votes. They get one vote. So they have to decide between them, or if there's three people owning one building, they still only have one vote on that building. They have to decide for themselves. Anybody else want to answer anything else?
Also, Pasoni didn't look at any of the ballots.
No.
So he wasn't involved, he just collected the envelopes and put them into a sealed envelope. We counted them, we tallied them here and now.
An open public meeting.
Meeting, an open public meeting, which is three of us doing
Also, the ballots are private in that only lot numbers are on the ballots. I don't think anyone in this community has any idea what their lot numbers are in terms of knowing, you gentlemen just saw those ballots. Did you know
I did not look.
whose ballot was whose? There's no names on the ballots. There's a code. It's a numbered code.
And if I erred on the side of trying to be reasonably transparent, so be it. We're trying the best we can.
Okay, any other public comment? Okay, great. Moving on to a approval. Did we approve this yet? No. We need to vote to accept.
I don't think, I think
We got action.
we seat those directors.
I thought the board has to accept
The
nominations.
nomination, me too.
The ballots?
No, the results of the results.
Okay.
Yeah.
However,
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the election results?
I'll make a motion to accept these election results.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of accepting the 2017 election results signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on. Action, selection of officers. Okay, this is once a year we do this, and we change the officers if we need to, or if we want to, or if people want to volunteer. So we, the officers are a chairman, secretary, treasurer, and vice chairman. Those are the four officer positions. And usually it's a tough one because it's a lot of people, if they're not there, they get volunteered for one or the other. It's not people. A lot of people don't want the responsibilities, so other people step up to do it. So the way we do it is we open up to this board here nominations for the officers. So we'll start with the chairman, and then what we'll do is we'll get all the nominations in, and then we will vote on the whole slate if it works out that way. If not, we'll vote on each individual one.
I just want to remind the board that at our last meeting, Darrell Blue said that he would not be able to take a officer's seat for this year.
Right.
So he declined in advance. He expected us to address this at our last meeting, but we didn't have time.
And Jay said as much the same thing.
He has.
He was chairman for 2 years.
Yeah.
He was done with it. Yeah. So I'm opening it up to the board. Any nominations for chairman?
I'd like to nominate you, Russell.
I have a few of them. All right, is there any other nominations for chairman? All right,
Does anyone want the job?
all right, I will say I will accept the nomination for chairman. Is there any other nomination for chairman? All right, I'm going to close the nomination for chairman. Moving on to the nomination for vice chairman.
I'd like if Brock stayed as vice chair. Mine. I would nominate Brock.
Brock, will you accept that nomination?
I'll accept it.
Okay, does anybody have any other nominations for vice chairman? So I'm closing the nominations for vice chairman. Moving on to secretary.
I'd like to nominate Deborah Mendel for
Deborah
secretary. She'll continue doing it.
Sure.
You will accept it?
Yes.
Okay. Any other nominations for secretary? Okay, Okay, closing that, the nominations for secretary. And last, treasurer. Would you like to nominate anyone for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate James, he's done a great job at it.
Yeah, I think so too. James, will you accept the nomination?
Yes, I will accept the treasurer's nomination.
Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Okay, I'm going to close the nominations for treasurer. So we seem to have the same slate, the same people that were on last year with no changes. So I'm going to ask the board to approve the entire selection, which would be me for chairman, Locke for vice chairman, Debbie for secretary, and James for treasurer. So do I hear a motion to accept that, or should we just take, do we accept it, or we just, that's
Public comments first.
do we take, we can take public comments? Yeah, public comments, any public comments on that? Yes.